So today we are talking about 10 side jobs you can do as a college student. So I know the summer break is almost over and some of us will be going back to college. Some of you will be going back to college. So I know some people stay on campus for college. Some people also are off campus, but they are not with their family. Some people also with their family, so they commute from home to go to college. And I know sometimes when you're in college, you may want to have a side job, something to like keep you going, like where you can buy, those outfits you want for the parties you want to go to, for all those things you want to do. You definitely need some side job to, keep you going. Also, sometimes you just want to get your hair done, you want to get your nails done, everything you want to do, you definitely need some income to do all those things. Unless you're students who already get their income somewhere else. But then if you're someone who needs an income, I'm gonna be giving you the side jobs you can do. Also, I know being a college student can be really hard because not everybody can balance work in studying. Like, it can be a lot. So if this is not for you, that is fine. But then if it's something you want to look into, let's get it. The first job I would say is receptionist. So as a receptionist, you are almost the first person we see before we see anybody else in the establishment. So it's important for you to, have the customer service, have a beautiful smile and all that. So as a receptionist, you are basically an administrative support. So when you're choosing a place, you can choose like a doctor's office, a dentist's office, whichever facilities that work for you. And also make sure like it's close to your home or close to your school. Like whichever way the commute will be easier for you because you have classes to take and then also to go to work. So you want it to be flexible for you. Some college students choose to be like a gym receptionist or a hotel receptionist. So anyone that works for you, you can look into it. So according to ZipRecruiter, a receptionist can make anywhere between $15 an hour to $25 an hour. The next one a college student can do is to be a dog walker. So what dog walkers do is in the name. So they basically come take your dog for a walk. If you're someone who don't like dogs and you think it's something you can do pet sitting where you decide what pet you want to sit. So since you're an animal lover, you can play with like the dog, whatever you want to do with a dog. And sometimes when the owner of the pet is not home and you're a pet sitter, you go to their house and take care of the pet until they get back, and you get paid by the hour. That's what pet sitters do. So in the US, the average pay is between $6 an hour to $25 an hour. In the UK, it's between 10 euros an hour to 20 euros an hour. And in Canada, 12 Canadian dollars an hour to 18 Canadian dollars an hour. That is the range for Canada. That's the average range. So this is a common one most people do, to be TA. TA is teaching assistant. Some people decide to be TAs. You could be an undergrad and still be a TA. You could be a graduate and still be a TA. So TAs are teaching assistants. They are there to like support the professor or help the professor any way they can. So sometimes they will grade you or they can even teach you. So it depends on the type of TA they are and the experience they have. So that's one thing you can look into as a college student if it's something you want to do. Not everybody might be interested in being a TA, but if it's something you are interested in, this is something you can put on your resume depending on the career you're trying to build. When you go to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, they consider teaching assistants to be tutors. So according to ZipRecruiter in the United States, teaching assistants' pay can range between $12 per hour to $20 per hour for teaching assistants. So this other side job you can do as a college student is to be a barista. So if you don't know who a barista is, it's someone who makes coffee in the coffee house. So when you go buy coffee, the people who make the coffee, those people are the baristas. So you can find a place that will work for you or work well with your schedule and everything and just be a barista. So you can work there as a barista and get all the little income you need. It doesn't have to be full-time, it can be part-time if that's what works for you. If you have some art skills, you can totally be a barista because you know how sometimes they do with the latte and all that. According to Glassdoor, barista's pay is estimated to be between $35,000 a year to $47,000 a year. So according to Indeed, in the UK, the average pay for a barista is between 6 euros an hour to 15 euros an hour. So this one might not be for everybody, okay? You can be a librarian assistant. So with that, you work in the library and you help like organize the shelf, you help stock the shelf and everything else. And it's just gonna be like this quiet work. But then if you're someone someone who enjoys working in quiet, this will be great for you. And also working in the library is like you get a chance to study when it's like, if it's not so busy, you get a chance to study, catch up with your assignments and everything else. So if you're someone who likes to work in a quiet place, you can be a librarian assistant. If this is something that is for you, you can look into it and get it. So if you're a college student in the UK and you think this is something you're interested in, the range is 15,000 euros to 28,000 euros in a year. So this was according to Indeed. On Glassdoor in the United States, the average pay for an assistant librarian $34,000 a year to $48,000 in a year. So this one is a very common one most people do. So you can be a nanny or a babysitter. If you don't know who a nanny or babysitter is, it's someone who takes care of younger kids for somebody who cannot do that because they do not have the time, or because they are busy or something, or because they have to be somewhere and they just need someone to take care of their kids. So if you're a college student and you think being a nanny or babysitter works for you, so you can sign up and babysit for people. You can choose which type of families you want. You can choose the type of family you want if the pay works for you and also if the job fits your schedule. With the babysitting, sometimes it depends on your experience and also the number of children, but according to ZipRecruiter, the average range is mostly between $12 an hour to $18 an hour in the United States. So other things you can do is, if you're a gym enthusiast, you can be a personal trainer. So the average rate according to ZipRecruiter for becoming a personal trainer is between $16 an hour to $48 an hour, and obviously that depends on your experience, your skills, and the person you're working with. Also, if you're into IT, then you can do IT assistant. So with IT assistants in the United States, so if you're college students in the United States and want to be an IT assistant, their salary ranges from $23,000 a year to $81,000 a year, and obviously this is also based on your experience and everything else. Depending on your major, if you're into computer science or whatever, you can get into IT. That can help with your resume in the future. And also, if you're into social media and you have experience in using social media, you can be a social media assistant. So according to Glassdoor, social media assistants in the United States make between $37,000 in a year to $60,000 in a year. I think this will be a pretty good setup. So if you're someone who is interested in working as a social media assistant, and also if you have experience in it, and obviously all the rest depends on your experience and your skills. So this the last thing you can do is to work in a retail store. That's one of the most common things people do when they are college students, or working in a retail store or being sales associates. That's one of the most common things people do, and mostly you are paying the minimum wage. So according to ZipRecruiter, the average pay as a sales associate is $15.67 an hour in the United States. If you're someone who cannot work and study, don't stress yourself in doing all that. But if you're somebody who thinks like, oh, I can do this part-time and also take my classes, then yeah, sure, go for it, do your thing. If this is something you want to do, just make sure like you look into it before you do it. You don't want to like overworking yourself and end up failing your classes. Oh, and I also want to remind you to subscribe to the channel and also like the video, and also go watch the other videos, and I want to see you in the next video too.